welcome back for another CBSI Hot 10 show. Make sure you go over to comicbookinvest.com and check out the article where I may put a few extra details and tidbits that I don't cover here on the show tonight. And while you're at it, check out all the other content we do have here on the channel. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Make sure that you like, you subscribe, you hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing the channel. And if you want to see this week's list, just hang on for a few seconds after the intro, and I will be right back.
Notable sales.
All right, our first notable sale is Dragon Ball. This special sneak preview edition sold in a 9/8 this week and got very, very close to its all-time high, which was actually hit last year. That's right, this Dragon Ball special sneak preview edition that came out, many, many years ago. 1998, thereabouts. This book sold for $3,500 this week. That's right, $3,500, which, like I said, is so close to that $3,777 that was an accepted best offer last June. So it's been about a year, but pretty close there, still holding its value. This is a tough book to come by in this grade. There are not that many 9/8s, and this one, like I said, came very close to setting a new high. Apart from that, another book that actually did set an all-time high this week was this, a favorite of mine. I do have this book. I only have a 9/6, but 9/6 is good enough for me. It's what I could afford. But this is Voltron, A Legend Forged, the Jenny Frison cover. The debated first Jenny Frison art, I believe this might have been released first, but the first thing she drew was for that Grim Fairy, was it Grim Fairy Tales, or was it like a Dorothy book? Can't remember, or Hack and Slash. Point being, early Jenny Frison here on that Voltron Defender of the Universe. This is just a C cover. This is not an incentive cover, and it's just a C cover, but it's not easy to find, and it does sell well, as you can see here, as this sold this week for a new all-time high of $1,550. $1,500 ain't bad, where last year this was $1,450. So not a huge jump from last year, but still a new high watermark nonetheless. So keep that in mind if you're out there shopping for your early Jenny Frison, because, again, there you go. This is the one to look for, I guess. Like I said, I do dig it, though. I do like it. Now, before we get into the actual top 10, though, those are some notable sales for the week. I just want to take a minute to remind any of you out there who need supplies, use my code RENNA10 to save 10% off your entire order. Get your bags, your boards, your long boxes, your short boxes, your CGC boxes, top loaders, pages for your cards, basically anything to keep your comics or collectibles safe. You can get something over at BCW, get those supplies, and save money while you do it, and save 10% off using my code RENNA10. It's, you help out the channel by doing so, and you get yourself a discount. So you really got nothing to lose if you got to get that stuff anyway. So speaking of 10, let's get into the Hot 10 right now.
Number 10.
And our first book is this Ashcan edition, not to be confused with the Ashcans released at San Diego Comic-Con, because there were a handful released out there. But I'm not covering SDCC books here on this list. I know usually I do a special con edition of the Hot 10. I wasn't able to get to one last week because, again, I just didn't have time. But this regular edition was a one per store, so your shop would have gotten one. So your shop would have gotten one, and if you want one, you got to have a good relationship with the owner or pay whatever they're asking for it. Because this Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Part 3 Ashcan edition with a Kevin Eastman foil cover, wow, that was a mouthful, is selling, for a decent little amount here. Just kind of starting off the week. Not a lot of new releases this week, and the 5th week of the month actually made it much of a ripple on the market. So it's interesting that the Ashcan here did. Only about a dozen sales, which is not that many, but it's more than most incentives we've seen lately, averaging $16, hitting highs at $20. Again, this is just a fun little thing that you can go keep an eye out for at your shop if they got one. And if you're interested in the Turtles or the Rangers, this might be for you. So go take a look at this Ashcan before this 3rd series starts up again. Now, with that said, that's just the opening salvo for the list. That's just our first book. So with that, let's see what we got for you next.
Number 9.
So I think there's a series announcement, or was it a film? Either way, an adaptation of Wolfenstein is coming our way. You remember that old school game? Reminds you of those back in the days of Doom and Castle Wolfenstein, and you're running through shooting zombie Nazis. It was some crazy fun. That said, they did make a comic in 2017, and now with the announcement of this series, us comic collectors like to go pick up those first appearances and pick up those comic books. So go look for this Titan Comics special, this Titan Comics series, which actually does have 4 covers. This was, like I said, 2017. I'm showing you the cover A here, but there were a handful of other covers that you could potentially get for this book. All of them are selling pretty well with nearly 20 sold. So almost a couple dozen sold, averaging about $20 this week. It's not too bad for a book that was basically selling for cover price not that long ago. And CGC 9.8 sold for $100, just to give you a sense of where that graded book is going to sell right now. So something to keep an eye out for if you're out there shopping at your store. Wolfenstein. You know, who would have thought? Wolfenstein comics. And again, it's not that old. It's like 2017. So maybe your shop still got copies if you're lucky. You want to go look for that. With that said, that's our number 9 book. So let's keep the list rolling and check out what we got next at number 8.
Number 8.
Here at number 8, we do have a repeat on the list as Superman is still hanging in there, not only at the box office, but here in our hearts as collectors and investors. As Superman Unlimited, the Dan Mora cover here with James Gunn on it, did drop. It did drop on the list. I think I had it on there at 6 last week. We have it now here at 8, not through any fault of its own, because we did have another 30 sales, which maintained the volume it had last week, and the prices are up. So it's now averaging $20, which is an 11% jump from, I think it was like 18 last week. And the high is up a bunch, up to $45 this week, which is a 55% increase from last week. So the prices are up, the volume's about the same, but with that, it still drops a couple of spots because it didn't make increases across the board. So with that, it's our number 8 book, and one you can still keep an eye out for is Dan Mora cover with DC Studio head James Gunn making an appearance on that cover, which is why I think a lot of folks are picking this up. They're looking forward to what James has in store for us for the rest of the next decade or so. As it seems, Superman was a hit. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to what's next, as well as Peacemaker Season 2, which we know is coming very soon. But with that said, that's our number 8 book. So now let's take a look at lucky number 7.
Number 7.
Fighting its way back onto the list thanks to an interesting opening. I will say an interesting opening because Fantastic Four, a lot of people were projecting it's going to fail. Marvel fatigue. Nobody cares. It did pretty well. It didn't set new records. It came in a little bit under Superman, but I think it still did well both critically and commercially so far. So I think it's hanging in there. And again, I got to see this one, thankfully, opening weekend, and it was good. I enjoyed it. I even liked their rendition of the Silver Surfer Shallow Ball, which I was worried about. I'll admit it. I'm a big Silver Surfer guy, and I was worried about this change and the direction they took. I understand why they did what they did, and I'm not mad at it. It wasn't bad. So Earth X number 12, I think a lot of folks agree with me that it wasn't as bad as we were worried about. So they're going back and picking up this book just for that remembrance and to kind of acknowledge what they did here with our female Silver Surfer. We did have 20 plus sold, so a couple dozen sold, which is a 111% increase from last week. You know, the week of release or just before release, averaging about $37, hitting highs of 55. We've seen these numbers before, but they're still pretty solid. It's still doing pretty well. And a CGC 9.8, which sets you back $250. Point being, a lot of respect being paid to Shallow Ball's rendition of Silver Surfer, thanks to what Garner did in the movie. I think that's her name, right? Julia Garner or something like that. But with that said, Earth X number 12 has been moving this week at number 7, and we've got more for you here with the last book on the bottom half of the list with number 6.
Number 6.
More Fantastic Four coming your way as the first appearance of Herbie the Robot is back on our list. Yes, Herbie's been here before, and again, positive reception to the film. I think they did well with Herbie here, and they didn't make it too silly, too goofy. It was a very good film, in my opinion, and people are going back and picking up the books. There's a lot of FF on this list this week, as you'll start to see as we keep rolling on. But 209, the first appearance of Herbie, is back here with over 30 sold, which is a 120% jump. Oh, I didn't make it green. Sorry, I missed that one. 120% increase from last week. Raw is averaging about 15 bucks. Highs hitting 35. We've seen those numbers before, but a CGC 9.8 sold for 400 bucks, basically $399, which is a big number for this book. So once again, first appearance of Herbie, back on people's radars after the success and the positive reception for the film. So with that said, that's the bottom half of our list, which leaves us with our top half. So I kind of teased more FF, but not just yet. We got something else here at number 5.
Number 5.
And that something else is the other ash can to look at your shop this week. Again, SDCC versions and an SDC version of this, but your shop would have gotten, I think, one per store, one per account, or whatever. Skinbreaker, the next comic coming from Robert Kirkman and David Finch. Remember David Finch from back in the day, Darkness? Art looks fantastic here. I love the black and white. Not every artist can pull off black and white, but David Finch is one of those few artists, in my opinion, where the art actually stands up when you do move it to a black and white. You like a Jim Lee's art. You got Art Adams could do it well with the black and white, but David Finch, this is a nice looking cover. Ash can, one per store, one per account. Go check your shop. It's doing well. And again, this series will be coming to us soon. But this ash can this week is outperforming the Turtle book. Everybody was looking for the Turtle book at first, but now 25 plus sold, getting on its way to 30 sales, averaging 30 bucks with a high already of $50 for this Skinbreaker ash can that, again, was released just this week with the series on its way very, very soon. So keep an eye on this and keep an eye out for it at your shop. Because, again, if you got a good relationship, maybe you get it for free. Maybe you get it for a discount. Just saying. Who knows? But that is our number 5 book. So let's keep the list rolling and see what we got next.
Number 4.
So here we have Doom's son, Kristoff. His first appearance in this issue of FF, number 247. So again, we have more Fantastic Four here. I'm not going to try to spoil things, for anyone out there, but there are rumors abound and some speculation that maybe Downey's not playing Doom. Could he be playing Kristoff, his son, who stood in for Dr. Doom in this issue, basically putting on the armor, pretending to be his dad? Maybe. It's a possibility. It's, again, rumors. Who knows? We know that Kristoff is still in that Doom book. What was it? I can't remember the Doom title where he's got the Doom Avengers or whatever. His version is Secret Avengers. So you got that team where Kristoff is actually in the comics right now. So maybe it's related, maybe not. Who knows? But this book on the list before, back again with 30 plus sold, which is a 900% jump from last week. Because last week there was like one sold. It was just like one. And now a 900% increase in that volume where it's averaging 15 bucks. Raw highs only about $25, which still ain't too bad for a classic book like this. But a CGC 9.8 Mark Jewelers did sell for a whopping 450 bucks this week. So once again, Mark Jewelers collectors are a little niche market, but they will pay extra for those special editions. So Mark Jewelers 9.8, 450. Volume's way up on this book. Thanks to that rumor and speculation. We'll see if this is the ceiling for this or if we're going to keep seeing more sales of Kristoff's first appearance. But with that said, we still have our top 3 to get to, so let's see what we got next.
Number 3.
At number 3, we're getting an animated adaptation of Paul Jenkins' Sidekick. So superhero sidekick, going to be kind of silly. Sort of thing is what I'm expecting. I mean, animated, you hear that, you figure more of like a Cartoon Network sort of late night, maybe a Rick and Morty-ish type if they want to go with the more adult vibe. I'm not sure the tone they're going to go for with this, nor am I sure of the tone of this book because I never actually read this Sidekick book. And I don't think a lot of people have actually read this Sidekick book because while this thing is selling, there's another version also selling, which is not the right book. But with that said, we got about 40 sales or so, a 700% increase from last week. Highs hitting 15 bucks because I think there was only like 5 or 6 sales last week. But people are also spending money on the 2013 version, which is the wrong project. That's this book right here. That's Straczynski's version. That's a different character, Red Cowl and something else. It's not the same superhero and sidekick character. It's not an extension or an update. As for all intents and purposes, as I read it, these are completely different projects. But people are buying both books because they're kind of confused. It's the original Paul Jenkins' version from 2006, I believe, is the one that's being adapted, not the 2013 version. So keep that in mind, because while I was looking at some of those sales, most of the $10 to $15 sales recently have been of the wrong book, the Straczynski book, which again isn't what's getting adapted. So be careful when you're out there digging, and be careful what you buy. And don't just buy things because you see an alert or announcement, because sometimes you can get it wrong. Just saying. With that said, that's our number 3 book regardless, and we still have 2 books left. So let's see what we got next at number 2.
Number 2.
In this day and age, memes can sell comic books, because this image apparently has been used across the board for all different sorts of memes for the Fantastic Four movie, whether it would be counting down to 4 days left until it's counting down, or jokes about gang signs being thrown up there by Mr. Fantastic. Memes have been selling this book, bringing it to people's attention. Fantastic Four 554, the Brian Hitch cover, has been doing very, very well. Anything these days can apparently sell comics, and meme or not, 50 plus sales on this thing, 733% jump from last week's volume, averaging $30 with a high of $53. 53 bucks just because people are using this image for memes. That's kind of crazy to me. But hey, it is a good storyline that did start here. Let's not forget that. But to be honest, that's not why it's selling. It's selling just due to the image becoming more ingrained in people's minds as they're seeing it in their feeds all over the place. So it's crazy. Again, what can sell books these days, whether it just be Instagram posts or memes or whatever. Speaking of Instagram posts, we do have another book left, and that's kind of a tip-off for what we have next at our number 1.
And our number 1.
So this almost made my list last week, but it was just hitting as I was making my list. Robert Downey Jr. posting on social media this picture of Dr. Doom on the cover of West Coast Avengers 35 caused the market to just go crazy, crazy pants, banana town, whatever you want to call it. They went nuts for this. FOMO took hold, and this book has gotten ridiculous. West Coast Avengers number 35, Al Milgrom. Again, this also kind of ties into those Kristoff rumors that we're starting to see, that maybe that's what Downey was kind of alluding to by showing us this book, but I don't believe that's the case. It doesn't look like I put all of my notes in here for you to show on this book, but I will tell you, 150 plus sold. It's averaging $30 right now. That's an average of $30. They started off real low, $1 copy, $2 copy, $3 copies, etc. As the week went on, it brought the average up to $30 as newsstands started hitting $100. A newsstand Mark Jewelers sold for $150 this week, which again brought that average up to $30, where many of these were very, very cheap sales. And a CGC 9.8 sold for $500. $500 for a 9.8 of this book. FOMO took hold, folks. I get it. It's a cool Doom cover. Who knows what Downey was trying to get, trying to tease with that. Maybe nothing. It could have just been a Doom cover because he's going to play Doom. Or maybe it's not. Maybe it was a hint. Who knows for right now? But rumors are running rampant. The market's going crazy. People are throwing a lot of bucks at this book. I think a little haphazardly, but it is what it is. And that is our number 1 book of the week. And with that, that was our list. Again, sorry I didn't have the details pop up here on this last one, but I need to get this out. And again, busy summer, busy schedule. I'm still trying to get this out to you on time every week without fail. And with that, that is our list. Hopefully you enjoyed it, but stick around. Don't go anywhere, as the boys on the Qualified are coming up next, and they got their quarterly Kickstarter review for you. Give me a little rundown on some Kickstarter projects that are out there. And yeah, maybe talking about some of these naughty books, because they need love too. I'll admit it. I invest in some of those too. We all do, don't we? Maybe not. Point being, check out what the boys have for you next on the Qualified, and I'll see you guys later with some more content. All right?